828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, the end of an era in Seattle and the beginning of a new one in Denver. ESPN's Adam Schefter is reporting the Seahawks agreed to trade quarterback Russell Wilson to the Broncos for a significant package that includes tight end Noah Fant, defensive lineman Shelby Harris, QB Drew Lock, and 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a 5th-rounder. The trade makes the AFC even more competitive, explains ESPN's Marcus Spears.
Now there's a new Super Bowl contender in Denver that everybody in the AFC now has to pay real attention to. It is fun, man. It is fun to know that Russell Wilson may eventually play Josh Allen. He may eventually play Patrick Mahomes. He may eventually play Justin Herbert. I'm talking about to win championships in the playoffs.
The other huge story today, it's only that Aaron Rodgers made a decision. He's returning to the Packers. The side's working on a new contract that would lower his 2022 salary cap hit and give him contractual clarity well into his 40s. Also from Schefter, the Chargers and receiver Mike Williams agreed on a 3-year, $60 million contract, includes $40 million guaranteed and $28 million in year one.
Need to spring back into hiring season? You need Indeed, the smart hiring platform that delivers 4 times more hires than all other sites combined, according to Talent Nest. Post a job and hire ASAP. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
In the heart of Beer City, USA, 2 men, 1 journey to create a sports show unlike any other. Unfiltered, raw, and honest. One of them played a soccer goalie opposite Ben Stiller. The other once scored 6 points on Steph Curry. These guys know their shit. Let's go! Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene, the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app, seen everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click on that live video link. Hey, don't forget, hit that subscribe button so you can get in on the chat with us. It's the best way you can get in immediate contact with the program. And we got a lot of things that you can weigh in on today because it's been an eventful day in the NFL.
Hey, at least, the good thing about having a corporate lunch is that it takes away from your prep time. Good things when you come back to the studio and it wouldn't have mattered anyway because we wouldn't have been able to talk about any of that.
Just blow it all up because we've got monumental trade in the NFL. It's tag day as well. The franchise tag deadline is at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Aaron Rodgers is getting the generational money. As well he should. And who knows what else we'll get into today. The ACC...
franchise tags at deadlines at an hour.
Right.
NFL teams are just setting money on fire to keep people from walking out the door.
Right. We got the ACC Tournament kicking off today as well. I'm sure, Jeremy, you got some picks coming up?
I didn't even remember that if I was big.
Really?
No.
Well, it's
because
easy to forget.
Well,
it's easy to forget the Tuesday.
Bad of the bad in the bad conference.
Right.
Hurrah.
Yeah.
We have our first one of these already.
I'm your huckleberry.
Classic Clay, our resident Seattle Seahawks fan. Russ will have to play Pro Bowl well until he's 50 to bring Denver up to a Super Bowl chance, and Seattle is in the wastebasket. Expletive face.
Uh-huh.
Look, all right, so what we're talking about, Russell Wilson has been traded to the Denver Broncos.
Yes.
For 2 1s, 2 2s, a 5, Shelby Harris, Drew Lock, and Noah Fant.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're going to like my response to this.
Nobody's going to like your response to this because I think it's absolutely ridiculous. This is a great deal. It is a great deal for the Denver Broncos. I think it's a great deal for the Seattle Seahawks. You get draft capital in the building. You get 3 players that are going to be very helpful to your depleted roster.
Well,
I get that you're...
you got 2 that are going to be very helpful. Noah Fant will be very helpful, and Shelby Harris is the player.
Drew could be helpful as the backup to Peyton, or I keep wanting to call him Peyton for some reason, to Malik Willis when they draft him at 9.
Yeah, I mean, he could be a bridge, I guess.
Uh-huh.
I'm a big fan. I've said this a billion times. If you're going to be bad, be bad. Seattle was bad with Russell Wilson. They are now horror awful without him.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that you reset the decks. You get the draft capital back from the horrid Jamal Adams deal.
Right.
But then I look at Denver and go, are you really that much better?
Yes. Denver is much better off with Russell Wilson, despite what they had to give up.
No. That's not what I said. I didn't say are they that much better off. I said are they that much better. You better than Kansas City?
No.
You better than the Chargers?
No, but I don't think that's as far off as you think.
I do. And by the way, they still have $50 million in free agent spend. Are you better than the Raiders?
Yes.
But not by much.
Nobody's shocked that I said that.
I mean, we all knew you were going to say that. So
of course.
I just look at this and go, Russell, you're in the exact same position. You do understand that, right? So let me walk you through what he's walking into in Denver.
Okay.
You have a mediocre to average offensive line.
But better than I had in Seattle.
Not by as much as you think. I've got good weapons and a defense that has a lot to be desired in a murderer's row of a conference. How is that any different than Denver? That is the exact same. Do you even know which team I was talking about?
Seattle.
It fits Denver, too.
Oh, I get it.
So basically, you just traded in Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford, and Trey Lance for Derek Carr, Pat Mahomes, and Justin Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the exact same spot.
I fully disagree.
Is there a snowball's chance in Atlanta the Denver Broncos win a Super Bowl as you're currently constituted?
No.
There you go.
Not as you're currently constituted.
You go.
But you can say that about, 27 teams in the NFL.
Oh, I vehemently disagree with you.
I mean, it's a fact. You can't disagree with that because it's a fact. That over the next 3 years, there are going to be 27 teams that don't have a Super Bowl.
And that's not what I'm saying. You don't have a chance. Do the Chargers have a chance?
Yeah.
Do the Chiefs have a chance?
Yeah.
How about the Bills?
Yeah.
New England Patriots?
Yeah.
That one's an outside chance. I get it. Tennessee Titans. Baltimore Ravens.
Chance.
Okay, there you go. It's the Cincinnati Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
That's 7 in your conference.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I mean, look, I get why you did it. It is imperative to have the chance to succeed. I'm just looking at this going, you're now in a more difficult division with virtually the same thing and a rookie head coach.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I understand why there's so much hope and so much optimism, because going from Drew Lock to Russell Wilson is like going from driving a moped to a Maserati.
Yep.
I get that. I just don't think the results are going to be all that much different.
I think the results will be drastically different from what the Denver Broncos were, and obviously, I think that Seattle has tapped out. Seattle's which is shocking to me.
It's why?
Because we had all thought that Pete's coming back, Russ is going to come back, and those two are kind of tied together. Now, what you're doing in Seattle is you're scrubbing the decks with a 70-year-old head coach. What sense does that make?
Why wouldn't you? Did you have any chance of being anything better than the third best team in your division?
No.
Then who cares how old your coach is? By the way, that same thing could apply to your team. You have a 68-year-old head coach,
and I'm good without him.
You should
encourage him. Leave. You leave. Byron.
You leave.
Yeah, Byron Leftwich. Take over, please. But that's what it had. All of the signs had said, okay, well, they're going to run it back. They're going to try one more time. Not so much. I don't think you could. You just couldn't say no to a deal like that. And all of this is apparently still up to Russell Wilson, whether or not he wants to accept the deal or not.
He's already approved the deal.
Okay.
This was at his behest. They talked to, from what I was told, at least 10 teams that were interested in Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Which, start trying to count those off on your fingers, and you'll go, oh, well, that's more than I thought it was. That is more than I thought it was. I mean, I've heard this compared to Tom going to Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
It's not even close. It's not even close to that. All right, so let's say the rumor from yesterday's right. They bring in Von Miller. They bring back Von Miller to put on the other side of Bradley Chubb.
Okay.
you do realize they have 7 free agent starters on defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you're going to change the scheme, completely revamp the offense. You just spent the vast majority of what you had in cap space to bring in Russell Wilson. The next time you pick in the first or second round of the NFL draft, your quarterback will be 36 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me whether that sounded positive.
I understand that it doesn't sound positive, but Russell Wilson sells tickets. Russell Wilson
see,
wins games.
And that is the stupidest thing that people say. The Denver Broncos have never had a problem selling tickets. This is not a ticket thing. This is a hope thing. I might give you that.
You can't have hope with Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock, and you know it, and I know it. Everybody knows it. Russell Wilson coming into the building. Is it immediately going to make you a Super Bowl contender? I mean, I think you're a lot closer to it now than you were, but
I would not disagree with that. But I would still say, you name me, of the teams I just listed off in the AFC, who are you better than? And you just shot every bullet you had to get Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get, and look, I'm not sitting here trying to say that they're no better. You know, they were 7-10 last year. They'll be 10-7 next year.
Yeah,
that's vaguely where you go to. That puts you in the back end of the playoffs, and you're going to have to get very, very lucky to so much as win a game.
Agreed.
To me, if I had been Russell Wilson and I had as much control over this as I feel like he did,
mm-hmm.
I would have been much happier in Washington. That division is horrid. Horrid. They have some money,
mm-hmm.
some offensive weapons, a lot of players on defense.
But what were they willing to give up?
Ron Rivera.
That's the question.
Obviously not this much.
Right.
Armchair Commentary asked in our comments, is this a better deal for Seattle than the Jamal Adams deal? Yes. However, let me sculpt that with if the Denver Broncos and George Payton had called Seattle and said, okay, I'm going to hit you in the groin with a 7-iron every day for the next 2 years. That would have been a better deal than the Jamal Adams deal. Look, I've heard Colin Cowherd and a slew of other people say, this is the greatest trade heist in NFL history. No, it's not.
Mm-mm.
No, it's not.
No, I think that's a vast overreaction. But it's because it's Russell Wilson, because it's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. We're going to have these overreactions to it, of course. But to me, the Denver Broncos were a team that were right on the cusp. And now, look, I don't know how they're going to how they're going to play.
Right on the cusp of what?
Of playoff contention.
Yay, we can make the playoffs now. That means we can play a game in January and get beat by 30 by the Bengals. Yippee, skippy. That's just great.
Look, not everybody's just fine with the Stephen Ross way of doing things. Just let's lose as many games as we possibly can, Mr. Jeremy Greene. Well, yeah, I mean, that's all. It's dumb. That's not why you're in it. You're not in it to suck. You're in it to be the best team you can. And we found a way.
This is the best team they can be. And the best they can be is a 10-7, 11-6 team that goes into the playoffs and is a dog to at least 6 teams in their conference. At least. And you just hemorrhaged your franchise for the next 5 years. When Russ declines, and I got news for you, he's going to decline faster than practically any superstar quarterback you've ever seen.
Okay.
Because he's short. A lot of his game came off athleticism. Russell Wilson and I are the same age.
Mm-hmm.
I hurt myself checking my mail the other day. I'm not sitting here saying we're the same level of athlete.
There's a big difference.
I'm also drastically bigger than he is.
Mm-hmm.
I just look at this and go, hey, great. You're all in the fan base. You can rally the fan base. Hurrah!
Yep.
Let's calm down on this as the greatest trade heist ever. Because this is almost exactly what I said Seattle would get for him, because it's what he was worth. I just don't understand this being the team that pulled the trigger. You were at 9. You were sitting at 9.
Mm-hmm.
Malik Willis could have fallen right in your lap.
Mm-hmm.
And would that have been good this year?
No.
Would that have been good 4 years from now? Yes. Yes.
I mean, there's a potential.
And
there's
4
a potential,
years from
but
now, there's a potential every one of these teams in the AFC crashes into the rocks, because I've watched plenty of them do it.
Could happen.
You know what? There's no shot of happening.
What?
The Buffalo Bills going 9-8 next year. Zero shot of that. Cincinnati Bengals, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Any of the teams in your division. I get making a run. What I don't get is making a run when you have absolutely no shot of being the one that holds the trophy at the end.
Are you ever going to be closer? That's the question.
You could have been. You've drafted
ever be
incredibly
closer?
well. I like George Payton a lot. And look, I understand that I'm I'm biased because I'm the draft guy. I have watched a slew of teams do this. A slew of teams give up just unbelievable draft capital, including the other one on the other side of this deal. Do you not find it weird? And now, granted, I understand it's a safety and a quarterback. I understand the difference between the two. Do you not see the irony that to correct the mistake of doing this exact same thing, Seattle just did to the Denver Broncos what the Jets did to them 2 years ago? Do you not understand that?
Explain.
I just ripped off all your draft capital. The way quarterbacks in this league work now, if you have a high-end quarterback, Green Bay looking right at you, we'll get to that in the next segment. When you're paying a quarterback that much money, you have to have this cheap, team-controlled talent. It's one thing when it's Matthew Stafford who's making $30 million. It's another one is Russell Wilson who's making $40. You know what the difference between those two is? That number one receiver. That's the difference between those two. How exactly do you think you're going to continue to pay these weapons? You're already thin in the first place. And now your first shot in the draft is going to come in the third round 2 years in a row around a quarterback who's going to age like milk. When it starts downhill, it's going to go downhill quickly.
But to me, I think that's why. I think that's why you do it. You have to take advantage of the young weapons that you have. You've had some bad luck with Cortland Sutton and the injuries. You've had bad luck with Jerry Jeudy so far. But we've got these weapons in the building, and you know, you can go on. Tim Patrick has been useful, and KJ Hamler could be a thing. You got Javonte Williams in the building. The only way that I'm going to turn that into a championship caliber team is to have a quarterback that could come in and play right now with those guys. And that's not Malik Willis. That's not the guy that I was going to get in the draft. It's not the backup quarterback that I'm going to find out on the market, whether it be Marcus Mariota or Mitch Trubisky or whoever. I'll take my chances with Russell Wilson. I love this deal on both sides because it was time in Seattle for them to move on, and Denver has a shot here.
I get it. I 100% get it. And you're going to get Russell cheap for a year. Because so much of the bonus money stays with Seattle.
Right.
$26 million dead cap hit, in case you're curious.
Yeah.
So he's cheap for a year.
Which is
they still have $35 million is what I saw after this deal unwinds. So he's still got a little bit of money. I get it. I understand making the run,
and you can use that extra money to patch those holes on the defense. You can bring back Josie Jewell, a guy who was injured this past year that you could probably get for a steal.
Back Josie Jewell for that. You're not getting Josie Jewell for a steal, and you're not doing it with Alexander Johnson either. Sorry, they have six guys going into free agency that were starters, and four of them are teams are just circling, waiting to get after these guys.
Bryce Callahan, that might be another one that they can get back on a relatively good deal.
Let's just best case scenario here. Let's say you brought back everybody. How many AFC teams do you think are better suited to win a Super Bowl than them?
I would probably say the same five that you just said.
I said 7 of them.
Baltimore, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Kansas City. Chargers. That puts you at 6. That's about it.
To me, and here's the best way I can equate this. I'm not telling you shouldn't have done it. I'm just telling you, I would probably calm down and let the good times roll because I think I feel like you creaked open a championship window and set the house on fire, and the fire extinguisher doesn't work. Because when this goes downhill, it's going to go downhill fast.
Do you think Russell Wilson is already there? That's the big question. Do you think he's already at the precipice of going off the deep end? We'll discuss that up next right here on ESPN Asheville and in the YouTube feed, thesportsocracy.com. Click on that live video link. Hit the subscribe button as well. More talk about Russell Wilson. We got Aaron Rodgers to talk about. Oh, and there was some basketball that happened last night. We'll talk about that after the break as well.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, cold front has moved on south of the Carolinas, but still some gray weather hanging out behind the front with us tonight, Wednesday. And we have an area of low pressure trying to work its way up from the southwest for the midweek forecast here in the Carolinas. So more rain coming our way tonight and Wednesday. 46 our low tonight. Rains likely overnight into early Wednesday, some half-inch plus totals. Showers Wednesday, 52. I'm meteorologist Scott Lariamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Tyson Furniture. Tyson Furniture has a fantastic selection of quality furniture, honest values, and great service. We deliver weekly to Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Visit us at Tyson Furniture in Black Mountain, where beautiful homes begin.
Introducing Seneca Women to Hear, the search for the next great female podcasters. Calling on women creators, innovators, and entrepreneurs. If you have something to say, a story to tell, or expertise to share with the world, we want to hear from you. Apply to the first ever Seneca Women Podcast Academy with iHeart, in partnership with P&G and The Card by Seneca Women, powered by MasterCard and Deserve. If you're selected, you'll be hosting your own show on the Seneca Women Podcast Network on iHeart. Learn more today at senecawomen.com.
Jeremy and I have been on the weight loss journey here, and it continues with PhD Weight Loss. Our a combined goal of weight loss on PhD is 200 pounds, a little over 200 pounds, actually. And we're rocking it out. I am over 40 pounds down in 12 weeks. Jeremy,
I am under 260 pounds for the in my early 20s. I'm sleeping better. I feel better. And it's all because of the convenient, healthy food from PhD Weight Loss.
They make me feel great in my own skin for the first time in a long time. Body's changing, like my body structure is changing, and it's weird. Like I'm walking straighter and I'm walking a lot more because I don't have that 40 pounds weighing me down. It's going to help me get rid and just ditch that sedentary lifestyle that I've been living. Eating healthier with PhD Weight Loss is changing my life. You can let it do the same for you. Go to myphdweightloss.com. It's myphdweightloss.com.
Asheville, Monsters of Rock and Roll Rapture. March 18th and 19th, Monster TNT explodes into the egg center. Metallic monsters and raw horsepower. Tickets now at monstertnt.com or buy at Allen's Jewelry and Pawn for free pit passes.
Okay, so we got the chorizo dumplings, the cucumber empanadas.
Zara's food truck is popping off.
Come on, guys, let's pick it up, all right?
But if she doesn't find a new chef, her truck will be stuck.
Carl quit this morning, so Jessica, I'm gonna need you on the fryer.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I am Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
The Sportsocracy.
Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man.
Welcome back in to the Sportsocracy here in the Ingles Studio on ESPN Asheville and seen everywhere at thesportsocracy.com. Last night, the Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships at the Harris Cherokee Center, Asheville. I think it delivered. I think that championship game delivered. Of course, I'm sure you all have seen. If you weren't watching it last night or you weren't there in person, shame on you. You should have been, because it was fantastic. Jeremy and I were sitting right behind Randolph Childress.
There were some funny tweets about me on Twitter that I went digging for.
We had quite a few pictures sent to me during the game of, hey, you're on TV. And I appreciate all of those, each and every one of them.
Apparently, a few people on Twitter wanted to know who the goat man behind Randolph Childress was. It's my favorite term I have ever heard for myself.
The goat man.
I'm going to put that on my business card.
Nice.
Jeremy the goat man.
It was a phenomenal game. I mean, UTC looked like they were going to run away with it early, and then it was awful boring first half.
The
if
first
you like
half
scoring,
was not great. UTC scored 15 points in the first half.
It was 26-16 at the half.
Yeah, they scored 15 points in the first 6 minutes of the second half.
Yep.
So
then
it amped up nicely.
Yeah, then things turned around. It was a back-and-forth battle there for most of the second half. And then right at the end of regulation, Furman ties the game. And I get all excited as they're coming back down the floor because UTC's not calling a timeout.
Which, by the way, good on both coaches. This many in-game scenarios, and nobody called a timeout.
Nope, just let them play.
Love that.
Yep, just let them play. And Furman didn't call the time, or UTC didn't call the timeout when Furman tied the game up. And then they came down the floor, and I think it was Bothwell. Bothwell did everything in this game late for Furman. Mike
phenomenal.
Bothwell was incredible. It was clear that he was the best player on the floor last night, in my opinion.
I'm a football guy, and my scouting acumen is usually best targeted at the NFL. I'm going to throw this out there. That kid can play anywhere.
Uh-huh.
I don't care what level. I don't care what anybody says. That kid is a player.
Yeah, so Mike Bothwell follows the ball down the court and blocks the shot at the buzzer. And I got a little too excited. And I'm really glad when we came out of there, I was fully expecting like the ESPN cameras had caught me falling out of my chair when it happened. I literally
falling
did.
out of his chair.
So I'd like stand up to pump my fist like, yeah, that was a big play. And as I did, the springs on the seat I was sitting in flopped up. And when I went to sit back down, oh, guess what? There ain't no seat there no more.
And he went through it.
I did. I went through the chair.
Which caused me to ask a question that I ask a lot. How are you still alive? How have you not accidentally killed yourself in some really stupid way?
Yes, I am one of the clumsiest people on the planet.
Oh, you're not one of. You said the wrong.
No, you've never met my wife, have you?
No, I have. I actually have, and I'll be honest with you, she ain't the ballpark of you.
Anyway, so the end of regulation literally took me out of my chair, and then the overtime period. Stat of the year, Furman did not miss a shot in overtime. Still lost. Still lost the game. They went up with 4 seconds to go. Bothwell again scoring the go-ahead bucket. They went up by 2, and then David Jean-Baptiste. He got the inbound from his teammate, and meanwhile, Lamont Paris, the head coach of UTC, is over on the sideline, like trying to call a timeout. He's like motioning for the timeout. David Jean-Baptiste did not even look his way and just sprinted to a spot on the floor. He did the Chris Jenkins thing. Remember, Tar Heel fans, you're all too familiar, too well familiar with Chris Jenkins. I mean, he just went to a spot. Spotted up, double covered, over 2 dudes, hits the 3 at the buzzer, and UTC wins. It was
By the
great.
way, he was standing in the exact same spot because this was right in front of us. He was standing in the exact same spot at the end of regulation, calling for the ball and didn't get it.
And when Mike Bothwell laid on the court afterward, that is why it is the Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships, because all you saw was that big Ingles sign right by the misery that was Mike Bothwell, and I went. That just paid for itself.
It was a great night for Ingles, no doubt.
Maybe that's a little too much inside baseball, but I mean that's why you do that.
Anybody understands that.
I would hope so, but maybe some people see that as you shouldn't be looking at it that way. No, that's 100% how I looked at it, and I'm sure that's how the front office of Ingles looked at it.
I'm just really glad that ESPN never felt the urge to go back. To Randolph Childress and Tom, what's his name? I don't remember his last name.
No.
He's a phenomenal play-by-play guy. Because I was leaning over Randolph Childress's shoulder to see the replay.
Oh.
Because I couldn't see it, and I couldn't tell if he got it off. And so I was just peered down there like,
wait, how did you miss it? Were you getting a text on your phone or something? It was right in front of our faces.
Yeah, but I wasn't looking at the clock. And by the time I turned and looked at the clock, the buzzer
Oh, that's right.
sounded.
Yeah, because after he hit the shot, they started storming the court. And our good buddy Rick Rice was doing the PA all weekend long, all 15 games. Dude is a
Rick
marathon. I mean, he's a marathoner. And anyway, he was like, clear the court. That's still under review. And Jeremy turns to me and goes, I don't think he got it off.
And
I
it
went,
was so close. I rewatched the replay. It got off with 0.4 seconds left.
Yeah.
Which in real time is nothing.
But it was awesome.
Oh, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was a phenomenal week. Ingles, as always, did a great job putting on the tournament.
Yep.
The Harris Cherokee Event Center was very welcoming, very awesome to us. And we appreciate everyone, all their hard work with that tournament, and looking forward to it again next year.
Absolutely. It'll be right back in town before you know it. It'll be tourney time again in Asheville. Actually, because it will be, because we still have the Asheville Championships coming up to start the season. So now we have these bookend events at the Harris Cherokee Center, Asheville. It's like, really digging this college basketball scene we've carved out for ourselves.
I do have to tell this stat, too, that Jean-Baptiste has been at Chattanooga longer than 8 of the coaches in the SoCon.
He has.
He'd been there for 6 years.
Yep. He's a seasoned veteran.
And beard game, very strong.
Yes. He's not quite to the James Harden level.
But he's very close. He's also a very nice kid.
He is. He's a very nice kid. There was Kevin Vick was talking about how he was at the games on Sunday, and David Jean-Baptiste was the only Chattanooga player that he could see that was hanging around hanging out with the commoners, watching the game before to study up on his opponent. You got to love that out of a kid. So anyway, my immediate thought was, oh no, he didn't hit that shot, and then my next thought was, God, who did Bob Ritchie screw in his past lives that things can't go his way? He gets into the championship game, and that's how you lose?
Look, Bob was as loose could be before the game. It's like, what could be better? It's Monday night playing in the championship game,
right?
And I would wager he was heartbroken, I'm sure, for his kids, but it was a phenomenal basketball.
I was heartbroken for all of them. Furman has just been one of those teams the past few years in the SoCon that have made all of their games very, very interesting. And then you lose like this. It's just heart-wrenching. But congratulations to UT Chattanooga for pulling off the win in the Ingles 2022 SoCon Basketball Championships. And, yep, it will be back again before you know it. SoConHoops.com. You'll start seeing the plans for the next tournament roll out pretty soon.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
I am at a loss for words about the situation. Look, all of this talk in today's headlines about Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers and Calvin Ridley and did the NFL do too much and all of that. But the one story that I can't get out of my mind is what's going on with Brittany Griner right now. So if you don't know, she's in jail in Russia, which is obviously not the place that an American wants to be right now. I mean, not that you ever want to be in a Russian prison, but still, especially now that things just continue to deteriorate between our two countries. And Brittany Griner got arrested in Russia. She was found to have several cartridges of hashish oil in her baggage as she was going through Russia, and she gets arrested. And we found out about it, Saturday, that story hit all of the news wires. It's been almost a month ago.
Yeah, internet Twitter sleuths have found something in the video that tipped off when the day was, and they're projecting it was sometime in the middle of last month.
Today, the first video or the first picture of her while in Russian custody has been released. It's just a picture of her against a wall with a piece of paper that has her name on it. There's no date on it or anything. I mean, but think about it in the sense of the hostilities that we have right now between the West and Russia. I mean, today you had President Joe Biden announcing that we are cutting off all of the trade and the oil and gas trade between our two countries. My concern here is for Brittany Griner's safety. And because she is a high-profile person in the U.S., she is a celebrity in the U.S., I just hope she doesn't become a pawn in the political game. This is bad news, and I will be following this story, and I know you will be too.
I will. Deion Sanders had 2 toes removed on his left foot.
Do what?
Because of blood clots stemming from a previous surgery.
Yikes.
We talked about this on this show. We all knew something was happening with it. We just couldn't figure out what it was. He had a surgery for I believe it was a dislocated toe and an inflamed nerve.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he went in, had the surgery. It was during the season. He came back, coached a game. He was on a golf cart, and he had the little push scooter, the leg scooter thing. Well, then he disappeared for 2 weeks.
Scooter. Yeah.
And nobody could figure out why. Well, we now know the reason. He had a blood clot in his femoral artery. This got so bad that they were talking about it could kill him.
Mm-hmm.
But he wound up losing the big foot, the big toe on his left foot, and the two toe. I don't know what that toe.
The two toe? Is that the ring toe, like it is on your hand? Like
I don't know the lieutenant toe. I don't know what that is. The assistant toe. But
that's rough.
It's a crazy story. He revealed this on an episode of the Coach Prime documentary that will air tonight on Barstool Sports.
So if that happens, I mean, you just leave it. You got to learn to re-walk. I mean, is there a prosthetic big toe that you put in there? Because the big toe is really important to your balance and all of that. So,
it is, but it's more the joint than the toe.
Yeah. Okay.
From what I've always been told.
Okay. That's strange. All right. So
I actually know somebody that had this, not this exact problem, something very close. This is incredibly dangerous. It can just as easily as it could cost you 2 toes, it could cost you half your leg, and it can cost you your life.
Well, thank God it wasn't more.
Absolutely.
Right.
But that ties together. I mean, we were concerned on this show of where is Deion Sanders?
Right.
And this is why.
Mm-hmm.
The picture of him in the hospital, he didn't want to talk about it at the time, didn't want to take away from the team, according to what he's saying now. But that is what happened.
Interesting. Russell Wilson is headed off to the Denver Broncos. And was it the right deal? Was it the wrong deal? I think it was good for both sides. And I think this does make Denver better.
Never said it didn't make them better.
But you still don't think this is a move that they should have made because
it's a move
it doesn't
that I
get
would
them.
not have made.
Because it doesn't put them in Super Bowl contention.
No, because I have never understood why teams do this. It's one thing if this puts you in the catbird seat to win your division. That's what we talked about this when Washington made the offer on Russell Wilson. That makes make a lot more sense, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Because go back to who wanted you to know. Seattle wanted you to know. They were tempering with, no, it's just your offer we didn't want to take. There are many others, and we will eventually take one of those. I feel like that would have made Washington the favorite to win their division. Russell Wilson and Washington are the favorite to win the division. Feel the same way about Philadelphia. Feel the same way about, I don't know how you'd have made the money work, Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Feel the same way about Carolina. I could do this for a minute. I don't look at Denver the same way. And so what is the point? I always come to what is the point? When you start giving up this much draft capital, and let's go to the most recent time this happened. The Los Angeles Rams knew they had a Super Bowl caliber team. They had just gotten there a few years before, and they had one huge problem.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Goff wasn't a Super Bowl winning quarterback. So what do? You give it all up to go get the guy. To me, that's a better deal than this, in spite of the fact Matthew Stafford is not as good of a player, because that was the missing piece to the puzzle. Does anybody with an IQ above salad dressing think this is the missing piece for the Denver Broncos? Do you really look at this team and go, well, no holes now, all done.
No.
Let's go.
No.
Saddle up and ride.
No.
Because that's not who this is. That's not who this team is.
Right.
They were not bad quarterback play away from being a playoff team. They just weren't.
Mm-hmm.
Teddy Bridgewater was not that bad last year. I can't remember exactly where he fell in PFF grade, but it was much higher than you would think. I mean, so how much better is Russell Wilson going to be than that? Not saying, and getting a little weird of how I'm saying this, what you got from Teddy Bridgewater was a mediocre quarterback in the NFL.
Yep.
16 to 20, somewhere in that range.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you think Russell Wilson's going to be 5? No.
He's closer to 5 than he is to Teddy.
And I'm not sure that I do. I'm just not sure that I do. I feel like at this point, and look, I'm not trying to slight the guy. I think he's the 8th or 9th best quarterback in the league.
Okay.
Are his weapons better in Denver than they were in Seattle? The answer's no. It's no, and it's not even close. DK Metcalf's a top 5 receiver in this league.
True.
Tyler Lockett's a top 20 receiver in this league.
Okay.
He doesn't have one of either of those in Denver.
And you don't think that Jerry Jeudy could be that with a better quarterback? You don't think that Cortland Sutton could be close to that? I mean, he's not going to be in the top 20, I wouldn't imagine, but who knows if he stays healthy?
I would say they're both in the 20s with Russell Wilson. Judy's probably in the back end of the 20s. Cortland Sutton's in the very low side of it. Tremendous.
Again,
and you still don't have a 1. You're still behind a mediocre offensive line that ain't going to get any better.
I have a better offensive line than I did in Seattle. I'm not saying it's grossly better, but it is
statistically
pretty better.
Statistically, it's fractionally better.
Okay. Statistically speaking. You like to lean on PFF grades. So I pulled up a list here.
I like to lean on analytics.
I pulled up a list here from PFF. They went through every offensive line in the league. Denver's 19. Again, that's not great. It's not great.
No.
But it's better than 26th.
That's just not that big of a difference. It's not that big of a difference.
Okay. I feel like it is a better offensive line. Not saying it's much better. I feel like your weapons are, they're there too. When you how can you compare to DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett? There are only like 4 situations he could have gone into in the NFL that would ever compare to those guys.
I don't care about that.
Well, you should.
What I'm saying is, okay,
his weapons don't matter.
Let's say Russell played every game of last year. They make the playoffs?
For the Denver Broncos?
No, for Seattle.
Oh, for Seattle?
No. They would have never been close.
No.
They were the 10th worst team in the league. That was with him healthy minus, 4 weeks?
I think it was 5, but yeah.
And one of them was a bye week.
Yeah, okay.
He missed 4 games. I'm 99% sure he played 13 games last year. He's still not making the playoffs. Is the AFC West worse than the NFC West? No. You're just rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. It's one thing when Tom Brady leaves New England and goes, hey, there's Mike Evans and Chris Godwin down there, and I bring old Gronkowski and Leonard Fournette with me. We can do some stuff.
I do have
That's not what this is.
I do have a much better running game than Seattle had.
I mean,
and it's younger.
You project it to be that, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just don't feel like this is a bad deal, which is what I feel like you're trying to convince us that it is.
I'm not trying to convince you it's a bad deal at all. I mean, you got to do, if you think you're competitive, you have to do what you got to do. And you're now much better at quarterback.
Right.
I would argue you went from the 10th best team in the AFC to the 7th. Whoopee-doo. You know what that in a dollar will get you? A Coke. And not much else.
Yeah, until we play the games. And then there's a chance.
I just feel like it's a gross overreaction.
Okay.
Look, now Denver's a Super Bowl contender. No, they're not. No, they're not.
They're much closer than they were. And they're probably, 2 tiers higher?
I'm glad you said that.
If you split it into 4 tiers, they're probably 2 tiers higher than they were.
Not to me, they're not.
They're not at the top of the 2nd tier of teams that could win a Super Bowl?
The top tier for me would be Cincinnati, Buffalo, Baltimore, Kansas City, Green Bay, Rams. That's probably my top tier.
Okay.
Then you get into a Ravens, Titans, Colts, Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49ers. I'm trying to find a team that I comp them to, and I haven't found one yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at 11.
I think the Broncos are in that group that you just mentioned.
I would say that San Francisco's where it gets close.
Yeah. San Francisco, Dallas. Yeah.
That still puts you at 12.
And it's much better than being 20th.
And here's the and I had a feeling that you were going to say this.
Yeah.
This is the best way I can describe the overreaction and how unbelievably stupid it is. When today started, Denver was plus 2,500 to win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
This is at betus.com. Use promo code Sportsocracy. They will give you a 125% deposit match on your initial deposit. They're plus 2,500. at 10 o'clock this morning.
Mm-hmm. And now they're at plus 1,000.
Plus 1,200. How many teams in the NFL have lower odds than them?
Oh, it's got to be 22.
Chiefs, Bills, Rams, Packers, that's it.
Oh, I went the other way.
Mm-hmm.
I went.
They're tied with the 49ers for 4th.
Yeah,
Are you out of your mind?
Well, I mean, but that's also, is that not just...
They have lower odds than the Bengals do.
Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it makes sense.
How in the world does that make any sense?
I don't know. I do not know. But is that not Vegas just trying to get people to put some action on it?
No, that's movement based on the money. Vegas doesn't make swings like that.
Okay.
But
I don't know the inner workings, so I don't know how that works.
They know that Denver Bronco fans will go, whoa, we're Super Bowl favorites now. And they'll just throw all their shekels and set them on fire.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying this is a bad deal. I hope that's not how this is coming off, that this is a bad deal. I don't think it's going to yield what you think it will. And you made a move here where you give up a reasonably high-level starter on your defense, a pretty decent starter on your offense, a young quarterback who I don't believe in, but still a young quarterback, and 4 pieces of prime draft capital. And what it changed is you went from being the 10th best team in your conference to the 7th. That's a lot to make that movement, and I just don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, not saying it's bad. I just don't think it's going to turn out the way you want it to.
But again,
and I don't think it's going to turn out the way Russell Wilson wants it to. Russell had issues in Seattle because they didn't invest in the offensive line and blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
Okay, well, you're out of now you have this sweet, beautiful bang, bang, and you have no guns. Or you have no bullets, excuse me.
Okay.
Yay! It's pretty to look at. That's fun. You have nothing left. Oh, but we got like $35 million. Great. A third of that's taken up by Von Miller. This team is right on the precipice of getting
Has that already
expensive.
did I miss something on the Von Miller
thing? He tweeted out yesterday that he wanted to be reunited in Denver. I can't remember exactly what he said. Basically, it was he misses his time in the whatever the Denver area code is.
You should know it's on your basketball court.
I should.
3517 or something like that. No.
3517. That's not an area code? Area codes have 3 numbers.
No, I thought it was the altitude.
I don't.
3257 it's the Mile High City, so it's the mile is what's on the court.
Well,
that's what I was thinking.
Mile would be 52 and some change, 5240 or something.
Is that what it is? I have no idea. That I'd had to move on from those classes that I don't care how long a mile is in feet anymore.
If you think that was bad, ask him to explain the metric system.
The hell is that?
I watched him last night forget how chairs work. So I'm not.
That wasn't my fault. Up. That was an overachieving spring adjuster who just has two happy springs on those chairs.
Okay, maybe I'm biased here because I was there all weekend, and you did have to. You were here doing the good work to get the news out to the masses.
Right. First time I had sat in one of those chairs.
That's where I was headed. Because every one of those chairs I saw all weekend long did that exact same thing.
Yeah.
Including yours, not 8 minutes before that. That's where that whole argument falls apart.
I'm not very observant, okay? There you go. Anyway, no, this makes Denver much more of a contender than they were.
Jason Trump in our YouTube comment said, math is hard.
Math is hard.
Math is hard.
Math is hard. I hate math.
And I'll be honest with you.
It's not true. I'm actually good at math. I just need a pen and a paper.
Kevin Vick said the metric system is 100,000 times easier than the standard, which we use.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't. Everything's based on 1,000.
Yeah.
How is that hard?
I don't know.
It all makes sense.
It's like
how many inches in a foot? 12. What? Wing. How many centimeters in a meter? 100. See, that makes sense.
True. It does make sense. Good for you.
I'll never understand that.
I just know every time I got to look for one of them damn little sockets, I don't have one.
That's the beauty of never fixing anything. I never have to do it.
Like I see mechanics complain about that all the time. Where's the 9mm? I think is the one that always goes missing. Yeah, it's never there when you need it. I'm U.S. system, not metric system, all the way. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. Of course, we're probably gonna fight about this for months to come. So, there will be more coming up. You got comments as well, questions. You want to throw them in the chat, thesportsocracy.com. Click on the live video link. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can get into the chat. Jeremy's going to have some winners for you coming up after the break. Greene on Greene is next here on ESPN Asheville.
The underdog. The long shot. The nobody from nowhere, never gonna happen, 100 to 1 shot. We know something about that. We're with you every step of the way.
This week at Ingles, select 6 to 12 count Laurel and Cuddly soft bath tissue, $3.98 each. Select sizes and varieties Kellogg's Frosted Flakes or Fruit Loop cereal, 2 for $4. And select sizes and varieties Tide laundry detergent, $12.98 each. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Hey guys, I'm Ziggy, your local Philly girl, owner of Ziggy's Bakery and Deli. I've created a traditional northern deli with only the most authentic cheesesteaks outside of Philadelphia, served with provolone, white American, or Cheese Whiz. Our other classic deli sandwiches are made with the best quality meats and cheeses, available sliced by the pound. Join us for breakfast for house-made bagels with our custom cream cheeses. Or for something heartier, try a pork roll, egg, and cheese or house-cured lox. Ziggy's Bakery and Deli, in the corner of Asheville Commons, 1550 Hendersonville Road, open 8 to 3, Tuesday through Saturday.
Last year, Lowe's completed 100 impact projects in communities across the United States as part of 100 Hometowns. Lowe's is making its largest ever commitment to give back to the communities it serves. Over the next 5 years, Lowe's will invest $100 million in community impact projects for those in need. Nominate your hometown project in need by March 28th. Visit Lowe's.com/hometowns to learn more or follow us at #Lowe'sHometowns.
If you're suffering every day with joint pain, stop and listen. You can get real lasting relief now with the natural biologic treatments of QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative solutions that can restore and repair damaged tissue with no surgery and no drugs. This is the relief you've been hoping for your aching hips, knees, shoulder, and lower back. The unique protocols at QC Kinetics were created by a physician with years of study in regenerative restorative medicine. They're treating patients every day in hundreds of clinics nationwide with remarkable success, life-changing results with zero downtime. It's the new, better, smarter, non-surgical, non-invasive way to deal with joint pain. And yes, they're right here ready to help you now. Call for a free consultation. Make this spring and summer your best ever with no joint pain holding you back. QC Kinetics, located in Asheville and Greenville. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517.
They say singing can help you remember things, so here's some tips for parents out there during these tough times.
Number 1. Make sure your kids wash their hands for 20 seconds after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside. 2. Virtual play dates, social and physical distancing can help save lives. 3. Tell them they're safe and show your love and pride. Yes, we'll get through this together.
Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Takia, and a little thing that I love about the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is when I take a bite, it's the perfect blend from the bacon to the cheese. It's perfection.
Hey, I'm Katora, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A mac and cheese is it kind of melts in your mouth, so you know it's creamy, cheesy, and delicious. This gooey mac makes me cheese every time.
Order dinner delivered on the Chick-fil-A app today. Delivery fee and other restrictions apply. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Hey, Ray Magliozzi here. I'd like to carry more parts at my shop, but I just don't have the room. Every time I go in the back to get wiper blades, I trip over a dusty crate of Honda air filters, then bang my head on some GTO radiator hoses. eBay Motors never has that problem. They stock all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them, with everything from new headlights to vintage gear shifters. I can't imagine being able to stock 122 million parts. I mean, where would I get all those shelves? eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Coffee store closes on.
Get them the money. Then when you get the money, you get the power.
That watch costs more than your car.
Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
Another day, Another 2-2 night.
Oh,
I feel like it's been 40 in a row. I think I've done it 40 nights in a row. We try to get back on the winning side tonight. I got 4 picks for you in the NBA. The first one, the Brooklyn Nets travel to Charlotte tonight to take on our Charlotte Hornets. The Nets are a 5-point favorite. This team is too good offensively with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Did you realize that the Charlotte Hornets are the 3rd worst defensive team in the NBA?
Mm-hmm.
That is a bad sign when you have Kevin Durant coming in and he's annoyed. And this is one of the few nights that you're going to see this team pretty well put together. This line's gone up all day. It's starting to get into that dangerous territory. I don't like it much above 5. I'd probably be willing to go 6. I'm taking the Nets minus the 5. The Cleveland Cavaliers are 3-point favorite tonight at the Indiana Pacers. I don't care who's playing because the Indiana Pacers look like they just met each other when they got off the plane. This team is horror-awful. The Domantas Sabonis trade has killed this team. I love Tyrese Halliburton, but it just looks clunky. Cleveland is really good defensively. Jared Allen down low keeps them from getting towards the basket. This is a bad line to me. Give me the Cleveland Cavaliers minus the 3. Finally, the Golden State Warriors are a 5.5-point favorite tonight against the Los Angeles Clippers. Over-under is 223. The Clippers are absolutely decimated by injury, and Steph Curry comes back tonight. I know he didn't play last night, first side of a back-to-back. He will play tonight, and I love him being defended by Reggie Jackson. This one's easy. Give me the Warriors minus 5.5 over 223.
Go and do likewise, gents. The money's out there. You pick it up, it's yours. You don't, I got no sympathy for you.
And as always, take those wagers over to betus.com, betus.com. Promo code Sportsocracy. Get a 125% deposit bonus on whatever you put in, up to $2,500.
This is the night. Vegas is doing the Bugs Bunny thing where the pie is sitting on the windowsill, the little finger is up in the smoke, and it's just saying, come and get your free doubloons at betus.com. Several weird lines tonight. Means it's going to be a weird night, be a fun night to play DFS. I know I personally will be. Trust me on that on the Nets thing. I'm afraid the Hornets are going to get blown out tonight.
They very well could.
Kevin Durant, when Kyrie Irving has been on the floor, couldn't stop a desk lamp, but he is really, really good offensively, and I don't see any way the Hornets can stop him.
It's a good litmus test game, though, to find out where you are if you're a Hornets fan.
I would say the Hornets are the 7th or 8th best team in the East. The Nets, at reasonable full strength, are about 4.
Well, I'm trying to go from a 4 to a respectable 7. And I don't know if I can make that leap, but I know that Dr. Ashley Lucas, a PhD weight loss, is helping me get to that point because I'm shedding the weight. Look, I'm not, I'm just feeling better in my own skin for the first time in a long time. My scale after 14 weeks on PhD weight loss is down around the 250 mark, and I honestly can't remember a time in my adult life where I have seen my scale say that back to me.
I lost count of how many people came up to me at the Ingles Southern Conference Tournament this weekend and said, you look different. There's something different about you. And it would take me a minute to go, oh, yeah, I have lost a considerable amount of weight since you saw me.
Right.
Convenience is what got me in trouble with fast food always being more convenient. The great thing about PhD, their healthy, nutritious food is also convenient.
And to me, it's a one-of-a-kind program. I've never been on a program before where I didn't go, man, I'm just hungry all the time. They get rid of all of that. They give you 80% of the food that you need to have success on the program. And as you can tell from our results, it works, and pretty quickly as well. Go to myphdweightloss.com. That's myphdweightloss.com.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, cold front has moved on south of the Carolinas, but still some gray weather hanging out behind the front with us tonight, Wednesday. And we have an area of low pressure trying to work its way up from the southwest for the midweek forecast here in the Carolinas. So more rain coming our way tonight and Wednesday. 46 our low tonight. Rains likely overnight into early Wednesday, some half-inch plus totals. Showers Wednesday, 52. I'm meteorologist Scott Lariamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Tyson Furniture.
Tyson Furniture has a fantastic selection of quality furniture, honest values, and great service. We deliver weekly to Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Visit us at Tyson Furniture in Black Mountain, where beautiful homes begin.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
NexGard of Fox Alaner is monthly flea and tick protection that's #1 vet recommended and #1 dog preferred. Use with caution in dogs with a history of seizures or neurologic disorders. Ask your vet or visit nextguardfordogs.com to learn more.
I think it's just vapor.
Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as one pack of cigarettes. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
I'm Christine Lisi. Monster news today out of the NFL. Russell Wilson is on the move while Aaron Rodgers is not. ESPN's Adam Schefter is reporting the Seahawks are trading Wilson to the Broncos for QB Drew Lock, tight end Noah Fant, defensive tackle Shelby Harris, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a 5th-round pick. Denver's now got an offense to go along with a stellar defense and should give the Chiefs even more competition in the AFC West, believes ESPN's Damian Woody.
Oh, man, looking at the totality of both sides of the ball, listen, I think the Broncos are right there with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they're clipping on the heels of the Kansas City Chiefs right now.
Rodgers will be back in Green Bay. Tweeted he'll be playing with the Packers next year. Is excited for year 18, but has not agreed to a new deal at this time. On this tag deadline day, the Packers franchise tag receiver Davante Adams. The Buccaneers put the franchise tag on receiver Chris Godwin. The Chargers and receiver Mike Williams agreed on a 3-year, $60 million contract, according to Schefter. $40 million guaranteed and $28 million in year 1.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Roger Goodell suspended Calvin Ridley.
He doesn't need somebody to tell him what's going on with the Atlanta Falcons. The guy knows what's going on with the Atlanta Falcons. Can't do it.
More from the guys Wednesday morning starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy, presented by Ingles Supermarkets. This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
All right, welcome back into the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. Sorry for the heavy finger there. Welcome back into the Sportsocracy. We are in the Ingles Studio here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Well, the deadline has passed. The franchise tag deadline in the NFL has passed at 4 o'clock, and we are, I think we're still at just 6 guys that have gotten the tag. I believe that's correct. Officially speaking. We still have more announcements to come because I have not seen Davante Adams' name. And
it happened.
That happened?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Davante Adams is one.
I don't know who to give the credit for because I've seen that in a slew of places. So.
Okay. Again, deadline just passed. Have not seen it officially reported anywhere, but I know that as soon as the Aaron Rodgers deal became news, it was, okay, now they're going to franchise tag Davante Adams.
I've got 8.
Do what?
There's 8.
You've got 8?
Mm-hmm.
So Davante Adams.
Yep.
You got Orlando Brown, got franchise tagged by the Kansas City Chiefs.
Correct.
Jesse Bates, as we all said should happen, got franchise tagged by the Cincinnati Bengals. Mike Gesicki for the Miami Dolphins.
I read that and went, wait.
Yeah.
Why?
Dalton Schultz with the Dallas Cowboys.
That one I actually got.
David Njoku with the Cleveland Browns.
Mm-hmm.
And Cam Robinson got tagged for the second year in a row by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I just, okay, Why do the Jacksonville Jaguars keep doing this? Does Cam Robinson have pictures of Sean Conn doing something illegal?
Mm-hmm.
That is the only way to explain that.
I don't have any words. He got, $13 million last year, I believe, on the franchise tag, and this year it's 16 because the price tag goes up if you tag him a second time.
83 graded tackles last year in the NFL. Where did Cam Robinson finish?
83 graded tackles.
It's not 82. It's not that funny. It's funny. It ain't that funny.
He was 38?
48. You were close. Yeah, he was 48.
Yeah.
What in the world do you keep seeing in him? I do not get it to save my life.
Well, he only gave up 2 sacks this year, so, I mean, he's got to be good, right?
In terms of run block grade, 79 tackles, played enough snaps to qualify in run block grade. He was 74.
Nice.
That's your franchise player for a second year in a row.
Unbelievable. I mean, as much as you think things change, things stay the same. Yeah, so his franchise tag went up from $13.75 million last year to $16.662 million this year for the 2022 season. I thought Jacksonville was all locked in on a tackle at 1. Does this change anything?
Jawan Taylor's still horror awful. So, I mean, you do need 2 of them.
Right. So you're going to go with Ike Ekwonu.
I'm firmly of the belief that they're going to go Ike Ekwonu.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the franchise tag news, Russell Wilson, I think it makes all the sense in the world for us to just go ahead and do another mock draft. I fully believe.
Who's shocked that he found a way to come up with another mock draft?
I didn't do it. You know, did it? Seattle. Thanks, Seattle.
Seattle did it. Of the tight ends that were franchise tagged, Dalton Schultz, I agree, is the most sensible of those options.
Dalton Schultz was going to get a bag if he had made it to free agency. I had already been told Jacksonville was in. I had already been told the Jets were in. And there were a series of other teams that Dalton Schultz is a guy that a lot of teams in the NFL look at and go, he is a top 5-ish tight end in this league.
To me, Mike Gesicki's very close to that.
But the thing about Gesicki that I don't understand, he doesn't fit in that offense at all.
You have said that before,
If you think about the way George Kittle plays, all right, the fact he's such a great receiver is only 50% of the narrative with George Kittle. He's also one of the best blocking tight ends in the league. And with the way they play, that is very relevant. The only thing that I can't quite put my thumb on is, are they thinking that Gesicki can be a big slot where they literally line him up as a receiver? And yes, he's a bad blocker for a tight end. He's not necessarily a bad blocker for a receiver. That's the only thing that makes that really making sense to me, because you're going to get a 3rd or 4th round pick as in compensatory for him anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really understand it, but I get not wanting to see a player that talented walk out the door. And there would have been especially after Dalton Schultz got the tag, there would have been a tremendous market for him.
Mm-hmm.
I had him penciled into the LA Chargers. I didn't see any way it wasn't going to happen. But that definitely did change the story.
And then David Njoku. I don't get it. I really don't.
I do. It took some digging, but I completely understand.
Okay.
Austin Hooper will not be a Cleveland Brown next year.
See,
they save about $7.5 million by letting him go.
That's the only way that move makes sense. I still feel like $10 million is too much for David Njoku, but I mean, it's the what is it? It's the average of the top 5 salaries at your position, correct?
Yeah.
Is David Njoku anywhere close to a top 5 tight end in this league?
No, but there's always been a thought that there was more that you could get out of him, and I think one of the fears that Cleveland had, and you do have to understand that. I mean, word travels quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I hear it, then every team in the NFL knows it, probably infinitely better than I do. There was going to be a pretty robust market for David Njoku, because there are a lot of people that feel like Baker Mayfield has held him back, and he is a player that you could get more out of. And they just looked at it and said, well, I'd rather pay $10 million to David Njoku than pay $10 million to Austin Hooper. And I'll level with it. I don't disagree.
Yep. Let's see here. 6 minutes ago. Oh, we've got a new name.
Chris Godwin.
Why? Look.
so Kyle Trask can have some weapons.
I just don't get it.
Blaine Gabbert.
I do not get it. Why are you paying $19 million a year for a guy who's going to miss half the season because he just tore his ACL? Doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I know that the hope there is that you'll be able to strike a deal with him for the future. You don't let him get out the door. You don't let him go to another team because he was going to get stupid money from somebody.
I mean, based off what Mike Williams got, there's no telling what it would have been.
Exactly.
I cannot wait for the movie that will be the 2022 Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Of all this money and nobody to get him to the ball.
Kyle Trask, Blaine Gabbert, we're going to punt.
No, you've already sealed it. We're getting Sam Howell, and I'm going to be fine with that.
Yeah,
it's going to be fine.
I set you up for failure there because that doesn't happen, you're just going to be.
I'm just going to be sad. Sad and lonely.
Heartbroken.
Yeah, just sitting.
Watching Kyle Trask throw 4-yard bubble screens to Chris Godwin.
Yep. Just sitting and listening to David Lee Roth all day. I ain't got nobody. You know that song. Come on. No, he doesn't. He's too young for that.
Don't do that. Of all things you could do, don't do that.
Oh, you hush. Franchise tagging Chris Godwin was a dumb idea, and I'm going to stand on that wall forever. This is the dumbest move that Jason Light has made.
Well, they drew a line in the sand of they know they know this team's about to get just absolutely ransacked because Carlton Davis hitting the open market. I got news for you: he ain't coming back to Tampa Bay.
No,
because the money that I've heard on him gets into the $16 to $18 million range, and it's a lot of the teams that have copious amounts of cap space.
Yeah.
The Jets. I heard the Chargers at one point. There have been a slew of teams.
Of the
Ryan
players,
Jensen, he's going to get dumb money.
Of the players that we could have franchise tagged, Godwin, despite the injury, he does still make the most sense.
He absolutely makes the most sense.
The problem is you're giving him $19 million a year for, again, what could be a very protracted season.
Well, I mean, Chris Godwin is the kind of player that the franchise tag was made for. Because, yes, they do want to keep him to a long-term deal, but they also want some security. So now you've got him at $19 million next year. If he comes back and he's not as good off the injury, you can let him walk in a year for a third-round compensatory pick. That's what this tag was meant for. It was meant to keep high-end players from moving in free agency because that's not what the league wants. The one I'm still I'm awestruck didn't get the tag, and now I promise you he's not going back, is Marcus Williams.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that there are two teams now that have basically done everything in their power to say, we're still contenders, don't forget about us. And it took one day for them to go, nope, remember all those things we said? Those were lies. We lied to you a lot of times.
Yeah.
Seattle Seahawks, New Orleans Saints. That's two teams that, I'm not going to lie, hey, we're going to be bad now.
But it was time. It was time to make those calls. It was time to make those calls.
We had by the way, I do have to cover this because several people said it in the comments.
Okay.
Apparently, our friend and person we will look up to, Pat McAfee, is saying that the Aaron Rodgers deal is not done.
No, it's not.
They are not, and the numbers are wrong, too.
Aaron tweeted out just a few moments ago that he has not signed anything and that the numbers that are being reported, it's not included in any deal that I have signed.
$1 billion.
Right. I had it just a second
Aaron
ago.
Rodgers is sitting back going, it ain't going to be that small.
Right.
Oh, you thought it'd be 50? That's cute.
Yeah. He said, I have not signed anything yet. And I'm trying to find the tweet here so I can just read it to you.
Hey, I bet I can tell you the gist. I haven't signed anything, and it's not going to be 4 years, $50 million.
I mean, that's pretty much. Yeah, here it is. All right. So, hey, everyone, just wanted to clear some things up. Yes, I will be playing with the Packers next year. However, reports about me signing a contract are inaccurate, as are the supposed terms of the contract I, quote-unquote, signed. I'm very excited to be back. Thumbs up.
Don't be emoji guy.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay.
Hashtag year 18. Heart. He did. I'm not lying. I'm not making that up. It's thumbs up, hashtag year 18, heart.
I hate people sometimes. Just the stupid things they do.
We're trying to be cool. Like, we're older dudes who
do
are like, don't we use these little things now? Like,
the only thing I can think about when people do that is Steve Buscemi and whatever. Maybe it's like, hey, fellow teenagers, stop that.
They put them there for a reason. They really hammer home the point. We were taught this by Yahoo Messenger back in 2002.
Yahoo Messenger. I didn't even know Yahoo had a messenger.
Oh, yeah.
I remember AIM. That's his.
Oh, yeah. I never was a big fan of AOL. Yeah. I just wasn't.
Well, then that's good because you won't ask questions that I don't want to answer. So
Yahoo was the same.
Hey.
They were all the same. Whether you used MSN or...
Look, I got news for you. Any dude you know that is about my age, at some point you thought you were a shot caller on AIM.
100%. Again, I used Yahoo, but it's the same thing. Hey, I can talk to girls now.
There are a bunch of people now looking at their children going, don't ask questions.
Yeah, you don't want to know.
Yeah, dude. And I'm making it sound much more nefarious than it is.
You don't want to know what went on in those private chats.
Yeah. It's weird that those didn't survive the technological resurgence.
And my greatest fear is that stuff lives somewhere. Somewhere that stuff lives, and somebody's just... Although I would think if it did, we would have found out about it by now. Like, there would have been stories. Like, if they're digging up tweets from 14-year-olds in high school once they get famous, pretty sure the Yahoo Messenger chats and stuff, those don't have a home. Those disappeared. Those were like, what's that new service the kids are using these days? Snapchat? Is that the one that they disappear?
The fact that you said that new service, that the children, what are you, 80?
I have never snapped. Is that what they call it? Do they call it snapping?
You know,
we
of all the
together.
Things you have ever said.
That made me sound the oldest.
You falling through a chair in public and you saying you have never snapped is probably the two least surprising things I've ever seen.
I have not. I don't go on the gram. I don't do snappy things.
Hey, you remember the thing I just said about Aaron Rodgers of don't do that? Don't do that. I don't know what that was, but don't do that.
Yeah. I've only been Twittering for a while.
Holy good gracious.
I just want to see if I can make your head explode.
I mean, I got blood coming out of my ear, but you can't see it because there's a headset covering it.
Right. Sorry.
You were the first, what are you, 39?
Yeah, 39.
Oh, I'm going to have fun with that 40.
Yeah, it's only coming up in 5 months.
Do those things hit you like really hard?
No, not really. I mean, I say that now, but everybody has told me when it happens, it's gonna.
Okay, so
it doesn't bother me that in 5 months I'm going to be 40.
All right,
and
so
then the day after 40, I'm going to be like, I need some Jose Cuervo.
I need that anyway. That's just Tuesday. That has nothing to do with what my birthday is. So my birthday is a week from tomorrow.
Yes.
And I will be 35. And that just marinated on me about 3 days ago. And it is not going so good between my ears.
Yeah. That happens to you.
See, I'm having one of those moments of like, okay, so let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I have not necessarily taken what one would call good care of myself. Average age for a guy, I'm about 72, which means if I had taken average care of myself, we're almost halfway home.
Yep.
They don't have a stat for people like me that...
I mean, they do. I mean, you could look up the death rate of morbidly obese people if you'd like.
What was it that Eddie Fox called me earlier? Artie the one-man party?
Yep.
Yeah, they don't have a stat for people like me, which means...
No, because you have very drastic different outcomes here. You have, only the good die young crowd, or you have Keith Richards. Like, it's somewhere in between there. You might be 16, you might be 89.
I might outlive you all.
Right. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what the secret of life is.
Just looking like a raisin that you left out in the sun for too long.
But you can be glad that you're taking the steps to get healthier with PhD Weight Loss. Go to myphdweightloss.com. When we come back from the break, we will continue the talk about tag deadline day. We've had at least one big contract handed out today to avoid any franchise tag situations there.
Hey, look, while we're in a commercial break, I'm not going to. There have been a slew of comments that I cannot say into this microphone. You should go to YouTube and just enjoy, okay? I'm having a whale of a time.
We'll talk about the big Aaron Rodgers deal as well as your weird news, 5 on it. And Jeremy, I'm sure he's mad about something. We'll get to all of it here in the next 40 minutes right here on ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, cold front has moved on south of the Carolinas, but still some gray weather hanging out behind the front with us tonight, Wednesday. And we have an area of low pressure trying to work its way up from the southwest for the midweek forecast here in the Carolinas. So more rain coming our way tonight and Wednesday. 46 our low tonight. Rain's likely overnight into early Wednesday. Some half-inch plus totals. Showers Wednesday, 52. I'm meteorologist Scott Lariamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic stop and go 240 eastbound between exit 3 and exit 4A. 240 westbound slow between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. Near Inca Village, Sardis Road moving from Sandhill Road to Pond Road, delays. Near Avery Creek, Boulevard Road northbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. Sweeten Creek Road north and southbound approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. Hendersonville Road northbound is slow between Overlook Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. I'm Lyndon Field with your time saver traffic.
The job market is competitive right now, so you need to be competitive to attract top talent. If you're trying to fill open positions at your business, iHeartMedia is here to help. Use radio and digital targeting to find fresh, passive candidates currently in the workforce. These candidates are listening right now, looking for new opportunities. Together, we can let the community know you're hiring. Visit iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
Last year, Lowe's completed 100 impact projects in communities across the United States as part of 100 Hometowns. Lowe's is making its largest ever commitment to give back to the communities it serves. Over the next 5 years, Lowe's will invest $100 million in community impact projects for those in need. Nominate your hometown project in need by March 28th. Visit Lowe's.com/hometowns to learn more or follow us at #Lowe'sHometowns.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like the course keeps changing right before your eyes. And in order to maneuver it, you need an expert by your side. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the Windows PC and tech solutions you need to help you get out in front and stay ahead of the game. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. A start to a simpler experience with Windows 11 Pro.
Join iHeartRadio all month as we celebrate the passion, power, and immeasurable impact women have made in the world. It's Women's History Month. Enjoy great stations powered exclusively by females, like Women's History Month Radio, playlists like Women of R&B and Women Who Rock, and personally curated playlists by some of the most influential women in music, like Shania Twain and Madonna, plus tons of featured podcasts like The History Chicks, Red Table Talk, and Stuff Mom Never Told You. Let iHeartRadio be your Women's History Month one-stop audio destination.
At Wendy's, March is madness. With our breakfast Baconator. Sausage, egg, and Swiss croissant. Both made with fresh cracked eggs or even a honey butter chicken biscuit. And we're just getting warmed up. Get 50% off the official breakfast of March Madness when you order through the Wendy's app. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
For a limited time at participating Wendy's via app offer only. Account registration required. No discount applies to taxes or fees. Not valid with any other offer.
The Sportsocracy.
We're just dumping a bag of hammers.
Oh, welcome back into ESPN Asheville. The comment section is just lighting up. I love that we're playing Guess the Game of what social media outlet Tank knows the name of.
Oh, I am enjoying this mightily. These are some of my favorite days where it's just, let's just all take shots at each other.
Right. That's the one thing. That's the one thing. And this is not a paid for spot. But when we went to PhD weight loss and we got our initial readings and everything, they give you this thing that's called the metabolic age. And it tells you how old your body actually is. My metabolic age, Jeremy's was off because they put his age in wrong.
Tell yours, then I'll tell that story.
Mine was 54. Mine was 54, and I went, that makes sense. I mean, actually, I thought it was worse than that, but I act like I'm at least 15 years older than I am.
Yeah, they had put they had your height in for me, so my metabolic age was like 73, and the number one thing I said was.
No, they had your original age in there at 66.
They had me as really old. And so I got that and I went, how the hell's mine higher than his?
I was like, I'll win the metabolic age contest. And then they looked at it like, oh, no, let me fix this. Okay.
The last time that Tank ran after anything, it had a sandwich on the side of it. How is my age higher than his? Then they corrected it, and it all made much more sense.
Right. By the way, that sandwich thing, is that what they're talking about? Grinder in the comments? Is that a no? It's
sir.
Not a sandwich.
No, that's not what that is. Yep. It's I
love days like this.
I love our little community of people here.
Yeah.
This is just
yeah.
Classic Clay asked if you knew about Tinder.
I do, but only by proxy. I have a friend that we call Tinder Brad because that's how he meets all of his girlfriends.
Yeah.
Or
let me just give you a
quote unquote girlfriends.
Let me give you solid piece of advice. If you're a single individual out there, take that app, delete it, and don't ever think about it again.
I have told him this numerous times, and he has too much fun. And I'm like, okay, all right, that's fine. That's fine.
No good can come from it. And I will not tell you how I know. Just I knows what I knows.
Oh man! So Mike Williams,
he got a whole mess of money.
Yeah, Mike Williams is getting a 3-year deal, and it's for $60 million. I thought for sure that the Los Angeles Chargers, if they wanted to use a franchise tag, then use it on Mike Williams. You're going to pay him $18 million this year. It'll be fine. But I thought for sure if they're going to get him to a long-term deal, they'd have got a deal. $20 million deal, $20 million a year, not less than 18. I may not be great at math, but I do know that.
I am just awestruck. First of all, I have to say this as a PSA, as a Jets fan. Thank you, Los Angeles Chargers. Because I was 100% convinced that my team was going to be the team that did that. And I was going to be,
I'd have left.
That would not have been a good day around Radio Ranch.
Mm-mm.
Because I would have just been angry. You wouldn't even really had to have said anything. Anything that rhymed with Mike would have just made me angry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I don't like the kid. I do. I don't understand for the life of me how he's a $20 million receiver.
He's not.
And this is one of those things that I get that that Herbert's comfortable with him. His QBR is drastically higher when Mike Williams on the floor, on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. I'm just looking at DJ Chark going, okay, I can have him for a third of that. And I do not believe he's a third of the receiver. That's probably my favorite player in free agency.
DJ Chark.
Mm-hmm. And the more I've heard about him going to the Raiders, the more I can't unsee it.
Right.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
I'd like that a lot.
There's the deep
Namely
threat.
because he's on my fantasy team, on my dynasty team.
There's the deep threat that you need. I love all of these rumors. Now we've got a rumor that Carolina is gauging interest about Christian McCaffrey.
Oh. We talked about that yesterday. Again, not going to happen.
Let me know how that works out.
Because what you would have to demand, he's not worth.
I look at rumors like this much at the same way that my friends say, "Hey, I started a profile on Tinder." Great. Let me know how that works out for you. I feel like I know the answer to this before any of it plays out, but I'll humor you.
Yeah. So Mike Williams gets a deal. Also coming out of the Dallas Cowboys front office today is that they have restructured a couple of contracts, including that of Dak Prescott, in order to make it all work with the Dalton Schultz franchise tag. Still waiting on a decision on Amari Cooper.
I mean, the decision on Amari Cooper is he's not going to be there.
Definitive.
They're not going to pay him $20 million.
Definitive, you think so?
Well, I mean, the deal with Michael Gallup, as of yesterday, was very close. It's coming in somewhere about $10 million. I think it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 440, 3 for 30, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He'll become the 2, CeeDee Lamb's the 1, and this receiver draft is so deep that you can go get that third guy.
With Aaron Rodgers now getting his giant sack of money, whatever it's going to be, he says that the terms that we have been told of 4 years for $200 million, an average of $50 million a year, is incorrect. So, or inaccurate, he said. So, the question becomes, though, we do know he's coming back. We do know it's going to be for a long-term deal. What can they get out of Jordan Love?
I've asked this question. And I've asked about a slew of quarterbacks. Mitchell Trubisky is one, and everything I have heard about him has been dumbfounding to me. If you're going to do it this offseason, do it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to admit the mistake. What would they get for him? I would say it's probably a conditional 3. I can't see it being more than that.
And I think that's...
I mean, when I've asked around about what we saw from him against the Kansas City Chiefs, it was everything I saw on film. Many evaluators agreed with me. And so now you're just looking at him. That is what he is. Could he develop? Does he still have great arm talent? Yes, so did Jamarcus Russell. I mean, there are a slew of quarterbacks. Ryan Leaf had one of the best arms I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Had very questionable decision making. We'll put it that way. And I'm not saying that about Jordan Love. It's just there are a lot of things I don't like about him, but you have got to get him out of the building.
Yes or no, Jordan Love is a starter in this league next year?
No.
Okay. Year after?
No.
You don't think he'll ever be a starter?
No.
I don't either. I was just curious what your thoughts were on that, because I don't think he's ever going to be a starter in this league. At best, he's going to be the guy who comes in for injury purposes. He'll be a Colt McCoy.
I asked a question, and after weird news, I'll get into this. Basically, the question I asked was, if you had to make a move for a quarterback, and now Russell Wilson was not in this, and Aaron Rodgers was not in this. This was the free agent guys, the Jimmy Garoppolo, and the trade guys, or the draft guys, excuse me. What would be your order? And there was pretty much a consensus, and I'll tell you what that is after weird news.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
All right, Jeremy, why don't you start us off for the weird news?
I have said on this show many times that I have some fears. Okay, I'm scared of birds. Thank you, Brian Hall, for I was yesterday years old when I found out that the Chattanooga Mocs were called that because their mascot was a mockingbird that will now haunt my nightmares for the rest of my life. And Brian got it to give me a hug, and the person was as nice as they could be. They knew.
Yep.
Okay, you're one of those people that's freaked out by birds. I apparently was not the first one that has had that same kind of interaction. One of my low-key fears, I don't like porta potties at all.
Okay.
And the reason I don't like porta potties, it just happened in Lakeland, Florida. This person's name was Aaron Henderson. He was a 43-year-old construction worker that was working on a job site in Polk County, Florida. Well, as things happen across the course of the day, he had to go to the Porta-John to do his thing. Well, while he was in there, they were operating a bulldozer, which then flattened the porta potty with him in it.
Oh.
He was declared DOA at the scene. Most of the porta facilities that I ever deal with are at concerts. My fear is that someone would turn one of them over, and when I got out of that, now I'm going to do crimes and I'm going to be in prison. I don't like enclosed spaces at all. I read this story and was absolutely mortified. Apparently, it was just an accident. There was a blade that had come through and obstructed the bulldozer's line of sight, ran through the porta potty, and unfortunately, Mr. Henderson was dead at the scene. Very sad story.
And that is one of your greatest fears?
It's not one of my greatest fears. I have enough fears that, you know what, the list, this is somewhere in the teens. I do not like enclosed spaces at all.
Now that makes sense. Fear of porta potty death doesn't really come into my thinking.
If I had $1 for every time that I had almost blown out a kidney at a concert because I did not want to go in one of these things, I would be like $84 richer. Well, and that doesn't sound like much, but it's a whole mess of times.
That seems strange to me, but I mean, I get it. I'm not afraid of enclosed spaces.
I do not like it. That's the reason that I don't like to be touched.
Right.
Is because I just can't handle it. I get enclosed and I don't know what's happening outside. No. But T's and P's with the family, very sad story. From Lakeland, Florida.
Sheriff's deputies down in Louisiana. Well, at least one sheriff's deputy down in Louisiana got quite the little surprise the other day when he was doing a traffic stop. And the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office put this encounter up on their Facebook page that they were conducting a traffic stop involving an arrest when, quote-unquote, things got squirrely. Upon a vehicle search, a pet feral squirrel was inside and pounced on the deputies. The Facebook video, by the way, is hilarious. You should go check it out. The dash cam video caught all of the pouncing that happened from the pet feral squirrel inside this person's car. And that, my friends, is crimes. I don't know what crimes it is, but that's a crime. That's assault on a police officer by your pet. So you have to go to jail now because your squirrel just made me mess myself.
Upwards of 17 people a year are killed in squirrel attacks. Don't fact check that, but it's true. They are, without a doubt, the silent killers in the sky.
The squirrel pounced on him, and in like some sort of comedy slapstick fashion movie, you can see this guy running all over the screen, waving his hands, and the squirrel's just scurrying all over his body. Yikes.
You remember like 4 minutes ago when I said what I would do if somebody flipped over a porta potty with me in it?
Yeah.
Take that, multiply it by 7, and that's what I would do if you put a squirrel in my car. Because eventually, I'm going to get the squirrel off of me,
right.
And whoever's laughing the hardest is who I'm blaming. Whether you did it or not, I really don't care.
Look, I have to give this deputy all of the props in the world because I'd have shot that thing.
I would not have been happy. I have long told a story in my stand-up routine of why I'm scared of birds.
Right.
Okay? Because one time I cohabitated a vehicle with a bird that did not know how to get out of the vehicle, and there was a time where the bird, according to the laws of the state of North Carolina, actually possessed my car because I was no longer in it. I feel the same way about squirrels, and it's never happened.
Yeah. God, what I would pay for that video.
There's one elderly gent that lives not far from where we are right now. He can tell you all about it because he saw every second of it.
And he cackled from his front porch.
I heard him laughing from a solid 500 feet away.
Yep.
I got news for you. There's two kinds of people in this world. People that have had a bird fly in their car. People that don't realize how scared they'd be if a bird flew in their car.
I mean, it's going to startle you, of course.
It's going to terrify you because it's a big flappy thing that's trying to escape and it doesn't know how. And it's not like you can tell it, hey, pigeon, okay, there's a window there. If you just calm down for a second, you can fly out it.
Did you ever have any question as to how bad Pittsburgh is of a basketball team?
Very bad. They were getting shellacked by Boston College.
Well, just want to give you an ACC tournament update because the tournament did get underway in Brooklyn today, and the first game is in the books, and the Boston College Eagles, not a very good basketball team either, they beat the Pittsburgh Panthers by 20, 66-46.
Oh.
This is why people don't watch the Tuesday of the ACC tournament.
The last time I went to the tournament, which was 3 or 4 years ago, I didn't even go to Wednesday. It was Tuesday, the first day.
Yep.
I went to Wednesday, and that's where I made my friend. And my friend worked at one of the beer carts, and we we became great friends and great allies
Right.
over the course of my 4 days.
Look, you never know, because when you go to these, they're obviously the most sparsely attended games.
Oh, yeah.
And so finding people in the crowd is not hard. And that, my friends, it was on the first day of the ACC tournament that I met Dwayne Shinsius in 2007 down in Tampa at the ACC tournament. And then we had a budding friendship for 4 days. It was great. We hung out afterwards. We had beers. God rest his soul. He was a good dude. But anyway, I mean, that's the best thing that has ever happened on the first day of an ACC tournament. I remember that year also, like Georgia Tech and Wake Forest were playing, and it was a tight game. Getting down to the end, we were like, you know what, we're tired. Do you just want to go home? That game ended up going 3 overtimes. It was one of the greatest games in ACC tournament history. We just couldn't hang for it.
Of course, there's a commercial that I see pretty regularly now about becoming your parents.
Yeah.
And they're walking into the stadium and they're talking about leaving, and the guy says, "Maybe we can get in the stadium before we talk about leaving." Every time I see that commercial, I go, "Tank Spencer."
That's Tank Spencer.
That's Tank. That's what he does. I know that because I have been to games with you, and I've heard you plan your exit strategy before you get in the building.
Yeah.
Not me. I'm a willy-nilly kind of guy.
You just roll by the seat of your pants.
We'll talk about it in the third quarter.
Right.
Not, we're here for the long haul. I don't care about traffic.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a good game, I mean, like last night at the Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships down at the Harris Cherokee Center, Asheville, that was one that you couldn't leave.
I am so glad that ESPN, I'm very sad they did not get a video of you almost
falling out of my chair,
almost messing yourself when you missed your chair. I am very glad they did not get a video of my face when John Baptiste's 3 almost from half court went down.
Yeah.
Because I would have been on the interwebs.
You had that big dumbfounded, gobsmacked look on your face like, no, he didn't.
I genuinely think you could have shoved my cell phone in my mouth. But that's how just my jaw dropped. Like,
right.
I don't know that I've ever seen anything like that live.
NC State and Clemson are playing right now. They are early in the ball game. It's 8-6. NC State with the 2-point lead on Clemson. And then tonight we got Georgia Tech taking on Louisville. You won't see the best teams play until Thursday, which is fine for me because this time the Tar Heels are in it.
If you're wagering doubloons on that, you probably need a meeting of some kind, and those are usually in the basement of churches.
You know, I don't feel like you are the one that's allowed to say that, Mr. Russian Table Tennis.
Cricket.
When we were in the shutdown, did you not wager on table tennis?
What are you, a cop? Yeah. I mean,
okay, all right. Just Russian table tennis, which you didn't know. You know less about that than you do hockey.
I have long tried to figure out what is the dumbest thing I've ever bet on.
It's Russian table tennis.
I got a tip on.
Unless you put a wager down on squirrel skiing.
I had a story there, and I don't think I could tell it on the show. And if I can, I certainly shouldn't.
I certainly should.
I certainly shouldn't.
Those are the best stories that you should definitely keep to yourself.
Yeah, and I've bet on some really ridiculous
things. If ever Jeremy or anyone like Jeremy has that thought of, maybe I don't want people to know this about me, it's probably worse than your imagination. But as the ACC tournament continues, we will keep you up to date. We'll talk more about this tomorrow because we got too much stuff going on in the NFL.
This has been a chaotic day.
It has been.
The NFL.
It has been. It's been crazy. It's gone from coming into the day of Calvin Ridley, the overreactions to that have been just ridiculous. So that's got to be the number one story of the day. And then it was Aaron Rodgers is getting $200 million over 4 years. Nope, that's the number one story. And then Russell Wilson's going to Denver. Well, that's it, folks. The show has been written.
The good thing is we had a corporate lunch today, so we were a little late doing prep. We walked back in the studio, and, well, I love when a show writes itself.
Right. So, I mean, you know, the whole Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love thing, it's played out pretty much exactly as I thought it was going to. Green Bay knew they have to give him whatever he wants. And I don't know if this is, because again, Aaron said that the numbers and stuff that are being reported are inaccurate. But I wonder if the this little detail is also inaccurate, that apparently built into the deal, I think this came from Albert Breer, that he has an out every year.
Oh, I'm sure he
can make the decision each and every offseason. So you got to play this game for 4 more years. Please,
Absolutely.
Please, dear God.
Of course you do. But that's not even vaguely surprising. What it got me, and I had already asked this question before the Russell Wilson thing happened. Now with Denver being off the board for a quarterback, I asked around league circles around the combine, if you had your choice of any quarterback that was attainable, that did not include Russell Wilson. He would have obviously been number 1.
Mm-hmm.
It does include Deshaun Watson. He was 2. Of the attainable quarterbacks, the consensus was I would have to be super desperate, and the price would have to come down, but he would be 2. Number 1,
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Mitchell Trubisky.
I don't believe it.
Mitchell Trubisky.
I don't believe, look, I get that there are some things that make you think maybe Mitchell Trubisky can come back and, have a decent second act somewhere, because you can't count Buffalo, where he was the backup for Josh Allen.
No, but there were a lot of things. Look, I'm going to be honest with you, and this is one of those deep tells that I don't have to have anybody tell me.
Uh-huh.
When a coach leaves a place, and there's a backup quarterback or whatever the case may be, and you start hearing actual substantive reports where people that are in the know and they have talked to people in the front office that they're going to make a run at the former backup. So now Brian Daboll, the former offensive coordinator of the Bills, is the head coach of the New York Giants. They are going to make a run at Mitch Trubisky. And they're going to pay him quite nicely, because it's $10 million to get in the door with Mitch. That's just where it is. If you want him for a year, it's probably a 1-year prove-it deal. It's $10 million.
Yep.
That tells you practically everything you need to know, because the offensive coordinator was there. It's one thing to want a guy that knows the system. If you just wanted somebody that knew the system that wasn't legitimate, you're not paying $10 million for that. You'd go pay the vet minimum for Matt Barkley,
right?
Who knows the system intimately well. That's not what it is. If they're legitimately after Mr. Trubisky, it means Brian Daboll saw something.
Yeah, it's a competition.
And that should tell you about everything you need to know. For posterity's sake, the rest of the top 5, Deshaun Watson was 2. After Trubisky at 1. Jimmy Garoppolo was 3. And the drawback on Jimmy, and what I was told, was if I knew he would be healthy, he would be 1 and it wouldn't be close.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that I never know if he's healthy. He constantly has something wrong, and then I have to spend money to have a backup that I know can come in and play if something goes wrong. There's more to the investment than just, hey, we got to give up 11 if you're the Washington Commanders to get Jimmy Garoppolo.
But that's kind of why he makes sense to me in Washington, because they got Taylor.
And that's you beat me.
I didn't mean to take the wind out of your sail.
Yeah, because basically what I was asking is, where does Jimmy Garoppolo end up?
Mm-hmm.
And the thought process has always been that Washington has that safeguard, so it takes away one of the big hang-ups of Jimmy Garoppolo. Plus, he fits the system, and there's just so many things that make that work so synonymously that there's almost no way it doesn't happen.
Right.
The other 2 were rookies. Sam Howell was 4. Kenny Pickett was 5.
Okay.
And the grades on those 2 are very close. The hand thing is freaking a lot of people out about Kenny Pickett, and Sam Howell is better liked than you think. It has been, I've said that for 3 months. The combine just basically confirmed what I already thought.
Mm-hmm.
There are teams that have Sam Howell as the number 1 quarterback in this draft. I think every team has Malik Willis with the highest ceiling.
Is the reason so many of your sources or your connections said Mitchell Trubisky first, is it because of the price?
Yes.
Okay.
The price is part of it. The investment's part of it. The thing, and you got to think, with Deshaun Watson, you're not getting him even for the Carson Wentz deal. And you look now at how stupid that looks after 1 year. Well, there's a possibility you don't get 1 snap out of Deshaun Watson. And you're not going to have the resolution on that before you have to make the decision.
Right.
Because they're not going to go through the entire offseason. Somebody's going to make the leap. There's virtually no doubt in my mind about that.
I would think so.
Garoppolo's going to cost you 1 plus what you have to have on the backside. Mr. Trubisky costs you $10 million. If it goes sideways, you're out of it in a year.
Mm-hmm.
And next year's going to be a better quarterback class. There's just less investment. And the question that I asked was, if you had to pick one of these quarterbacks to start for you week 1 of next year with the investment, who would it be? Trubisky was 1. Deshaun Watson was 2. Jimmy Garoppolo was 3.
My answer will be Deshaun. I get that he comes with baggage.
But that's not just baggage. I mean, you're risking your career.
Oh, I understand that.
But if it's not even resolved.
But if he can play, how does that? And you're saying,
if he could,
day one.
If everything went away, and I'm not, we don't talk politics,
No.
and I've said this many times before. I'm not a cop and I'm not a lawyer. If it went away, he would be one. Not even close, and the price for Deshaun Watson would make what Russell Wilson just got the Seattle Seahawks look like a Tonka toy.
That's where I was going with that.
But you can't know that, and you're not going to know that.
Oh, I know. But Mitchell Trubisky being number 1 on that list, I've just seen a lot of people who seem to have flipped in just a year on what they think about Mitch Trubisky. He was awful in Chicago, and then he goes to Buffalo, spends 1 year.
Why?
You don't see him on the field, and then now free agency comes about, and you're like, oh my God, Mitchell Trubisky.
But why?
But why what?
But why has public perception changed so much? And it's not public perception. Public perception is still the exact same to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
You had a year of the stink wear off. Then you saw Matt Nagy absolutely bungle the Justin Fields thing, and people sit around. When you get desperate, it's weird how many things you're willing to accept. And so a lot of people have convinced themselves that the Mitch Trubisky situation was bungled by the Bears. The Bears have broken a slew of quarterbacks, ranging from Jay Cutler to Cade McNown. This is not exactly a quarterback factory. And so now you're desperate. You need a quarterback. You can convince yourself that the price makes sense. There's a limited number of options that can come in and start right away in the draft. I mean, it makes immense sense. And he's still only, 26 years old?
Yeah.
That doesn't shock me in the least. Plus, you got to realize how many tentacles of the Buffalo tree have now gone other places, and how many of those places need quarterbacks. They're comfortable with Mitch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Sean McDermott said the other day, we'd love to have him back. He's
pay
priced
him.
out.
Right.
Like, there's no way we can pay what somebody else is going to pay him.
Right, because we got him for $2.5 million this past year, and that is not in the cards anymore.
And I'll level with you. When a coach or front office or somebody that makes these decisions is that honest about that, that's telling you. They don't just think this.
They know.
They know the scuttlebutt around agents and front offices is somebody's going to overpay him.
And I'll be honest with you, if somebody's going to do it, I think it should be the New York Giants.
I wouldn't disagree with
that. I
that.
think Brian Daboll needs to take him and be done with Daniel Jones.
I agree.
All right, Jeremy, you mad? We're going to hear it up next here on ESPN Asheville.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic crawling 240 eastbound between exit 2 and exit 4A. 240 westbound slow between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound slow between Long Shoals Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Near Inca Village, Sardis Road moving from Sandhill Road to Pond Road delays. Patton Avenue north and southbound near New Leicester Highway expect delays. On NC 191 north and southbound near Old Fanning Bridge Road, delays near High Vista Golf Club. Sweeten Creek Road north and southbound approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. I'm Lyndon Field with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Real credit card questions require real people. Someone who understands your issues and works to resolve them with you. That's why Discover offers helpful, U.S.-based representatives. Available 24/7. Discover. Exceptionally common sense.
Hey folks, DG here. Y'all know I've always loved the slogan, Smiles Change Lives, which I first heard years ago from Dr. Rebecca Merrill of Asheville Smiles. I hope you will live that slogan here in 2022. Whether it's just time for a routine cleaning, you want to learn more about Invisalign, a great alternative to braces, you need a diagnosis and treatment plan, or if you don't have dental insurance, you just want to learn more about her special membership plans. 828-251-2426 or AshevilleSmiles.com.
Back in the good old days, I'd weighed a whole lot more than I do right now. In fact,
so it wasn't the good old days. It was the big old days.
It was the big old days. I mean, and I'm still a big guy, and I'm probably going to be a big guy for a while. But PhD weight loss is helping me put myself on a path that I really never even thought was possible. You know, when we sat down with Dr. Ashley Lucas, she had a weight loss goal for me that she wanted me to end up on this program being down to 175 pounds. I was like, that's never happened to me before. but I'm actually believing it. We've been on this program since just before Thanksgiving, and since then, I am down 40 pounds of PhD.
I am below 260 pounds. I had my monthly guy gathering last night, and many of the guys at the game were like, you look great. You look better than I've ever seen you. I'm back to my high school weight, and it's all because of PhD. That's right. You want a transformation in 2022? MyPhDweightLoss.com. MyPhDweightLoss.com.
Kelley Blue Book is the one-stop shop for pricing, fixing, selling, and instant cash offering. Instant Cash Offer is exactly what it sounds like. An official offer to buy or trade your car. Woo-hoo! Just enter your VIN or license plate, answer a few questions about your car's history, and what kind of condition it's in. In minutes, you'll receive an offer to sell or trade your car that you can be sure is fair. Then choose a dealer to purchase your car and schedule a time to meet. For all of the its, KBB.com.
NexGard of Fox Alaner is monthly flea and tick protection that's #1 vet recommended and #1 dog preferred. Use with caution in dogs with a history of seizures or neurologic disorders. Ask your vet or visit nextguardfordogs.com to learn more.
Hi, my name is Takia, and a little thing that I love about the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is when I take a bite, it's the perfect blend from the bacon to the cheese. It's perfection.
Hey, I'm Katora, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A mac and cheese is it kind of melts in your mouth, so you know it's creamy, cheesy, and delicious. This gooey mac makes me cheese every time.
Order dinner delivered on the Chick-fil-A app today. Delivery fee and other restrictions apply. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Ray Magliozzi here. I'd like to carry more parts, but I barely have room to think in my garage. Luckily, eBay Motors has all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. Can't imagine stocking that many parts. Where would I get all those shelves? eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Yeah, we're not gonna let it end without more picks from Mr. Flostradamus. Put 5 on it.
First 2 I've already given you. I got a third one that I think is a hammer in college basketball. First, the Brooklyn Nets are a 5-point favorite tonight at the Charlotte Hornets. I got 50 on it. A team that's as bleak defensively as the Charlotte Hornets coming up against Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. This is just bringing a knife to a gunfight. The Nets have to make every opportunity that they get Kyrie and Durant on the floor together work for them, and I think they're going to do it tonight. I got 50 on it. Brooklyn Nets -5. Next, the Cleveland Cavaliers are a 3-point favorite at the Indiana Pacers. I got 50 on it. This team's too good, and they're too good around the basket. The problem with Indiana is they only have a couple players that can score, and most of them are dribble drive guys like Malcolm Brogdon. I'm not saying he can't shoot. Problem is that anybody that defends him is longer than him. This does not set up well for them. Give me the Cavaliers -3. I got 50 on it. Finally, in the West Coast Conference Championship, you know I love a dog. And St. Mary's is a whale of a dog. They're a 12.5-point dog tonight against Gonzaga. They just beat this team not long ago, 12.5. You remember the last time I gave you 12.5 as a number? That was the North Carolina Tar Heels, who wound up winning by 13.
Yes,
not saying St. Mary's is going to do that, but this number is stupid. It's too much. I get the revenge factor. St. Mary's is looking for a seeding in the tournament, too. I got 25 on it. St. Mary's +12.5.
And you could take those wagers to betus.com, betus.com. Use the promo code Sportsocracy and get a 125% deposit bonus on whatever you put in, and they'll do that up to $2,500.
No happy hour today on the YouTube channel. This will just be a one-day absence. We've got some new things going in on the channel. You'll be seeing them very soon. And we have to piece them all together. So, no happy hour today. We'll be doing free agency predictions the rest of the week through the weekend. We will also have an extra mock draft that will be out at some point this week.
Yep.
And top 13 guards will be out tomorrow.
All right, interior offensive lineman. Can't wait for that.
I forgot. We put guards and centers together because there's only 3 centers that are worth drafting.
Right. You can't exclude Tyler Linderbaum, who's definitely going to be very, very high on that list. Probably number 1, I would have to say, but it's Jeremy's list, not mine. All right, let's call it a day. It's been a busy day. We'll have more for you coming up tomorrow at 3 o'clock right here on ESPN Asheville inside the Ingles Studio.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, cold front has moved on south of the Carolinas, but still some gray weather hanging out behind the front with us tonight, Wednesday. And we have an area of low pressure trying to work its way up from the southwest for the midweek forecast here in the Carolinas. So more rain coming our way tonight and Wednesday. 46 our low tonight. Rain's likely overnight into early Wednesday, some half-inch plus totals. Showers Wednesday, 52. I'm meteorologist Scott Lariamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by eBay Motors.
Ray Magliozzi here. I'd like to carry more parts, but I barely have room to think in my garage. Luckily, eBay Motors has all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. Can't imagine stocking that many parts. Where would I get all those shelves? eBay Motors. Let's ride.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic crawling 240 eastbound between exit 2 and exit 4A. 240 westbound slow between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound slow between Long Shoals Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Near Inca Village, Sardis Road, moving from Sandhill Road to Pond Road, delays. Patton Avenue north and southbound near New Leicester Highway, expect delays. On NC 191 north and southbound near Old Fanning Bridge Road, delays near High Vista Golf Club. Sweeten Creek Road, north and southbound, approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. I'm Lyndon Field with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Dell Technologies.
Sometimes it feels like the course keeps changing right before your eyes. Dell Technologies advisors have the Windows PC and tech solutions you need to help your business stay ahead of the game. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK